off the call signs.
It's been so long. I forgot we were
I
in this
forgot what the
battle.
fuck happened. I
Yeah,
just know,
y'all-
Are we still fighting?
Did y'all
Like,
check
the-
in the post-game
No,
report?
we won the fight.
the
Okay.
girl died.
We won the fight, and everybody died. We got pissed at Faye, and my
Y'all-
hometown burned down.
Y'all are headed to Fall. Well, y'all don't know. Fallholt's a ways away, but you see smoke in the distance.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah, so y'all are traveling that way.
It sounds like the Starbound music.
Now this is the Lunar Interlude, my guy.
No, that's the Starbound song.
You need to hop on some Adventure Time. It is similar to Starbound though.
Sure, you gotta listen to the Adventure Zone.
Did y'all see on y'all's like bios I added shit?
Nope.
Well, you can look at that. I sent that in the email a while ago, but it's not important right now. Will, I hear it clicking. Are you still in a league game?
It's gonna be a league game.
100%.
2,000%. Okay.
But keep talking.
Yeah. So, well, that's the reason I ask is the first housekeeping item is to you. So this is kind of like as y'all are starting to embark to Fallholt, you can recall in your moment of triumph as your sword elongated through Gilverneck and you killed him. And like kind of blood flowed over the sword that you used. You could sense a stronger connection with it than you did like just moments before as you made that kill. And as the life fell out of his eyes, blood welled over the sword, its will became more like articulate in that it attempted to speak with you using words and full sentences, whereas before when you were using it and you would strike somebody, it was just like a feeling, like a compulsion. Now it's like talking to you, and it attempts to make a deal with you. It says, like in your mind, you're mentally hearing this. I see you are a fighter for justice. I wish to work with you. It's been so long since I have been wielded by one with so much promise, and with what appears to be righteous motivations. Continue to feed me the souls of the wicked, and we shall have no further problems. In other words, as long as your will is my own, we shall breathe in the blood of Tenebris and exhale a wellspring to the enlightened conviction of Solus. I know there is so much work to do. So he kind of presents this to you.
And so who's Tenebris again?
Tenebris is the dark, shadowy side, and Solus is like the organization movement, and then Solus is the more light, divine, religious. It has something to do with gods, based on your understanding of it. So it's saying, like it wants the blood of Tenebris for the conviction of Solus, and it kind of presents this to you, and you have.
So it's some kind of like divine, like, or wait, you said it's for Solus?
Yes.
Okay.
Against Tenebris.
Okay.
And you have this moment where you can kind of accept, like mentally accept or to reject this compulsion or this deal. And you, by this time, you can you realize this weapon is imbued with true sentience, with a will and a mind of its own.
Fuck it, I accept.
And I was gonna say, you, Malos, you know, being a fighter of many battles, you already know about the nature of sentient items and kind of what that entails to a certain extent. You can know that by any way of your history. I don't know what would have caused that. Maybe you've dealt with one before. That's up to you.
Mm-hmm.
But after experiencing this conversation and given the
I don't
deal,
think I've dealt with one, but I think I had like a leader that had one, and he kind of like confided in me about it one time.
okay, so there's like a more powerful person in the army that you're fighting in at some point. And after experiencing this conversation and the deal it presented, you can tell this item has a specific tilt to its consciousness, and this is something that's common with sentient items. And this one specifically is it's trying to align with you, and you're trying to seek a destiny together. So you're fairly certain like this is a destiny seeker, quote unquote, and that's like a common archetype for a sentient item. It's convinced it and its wielder have key roles to play in future events.
Okay.
And yeah, after you accept it, you kind of send this mental message. It says, it kind of hits you with one more thing. Before we officially seal this deal, give me one good reason why I shouldn't make you hand me over to him over there. He's practically bleeding with the type of divine magic I'm attuned to, certainly more than you. And he kind of indicates Darian.
Oh, okay. He's pointing to John.
He's like, yeah, he like kind of forces your attention to look at John, who's just walking beside you, obliviously. This is all happening in your mind.
Okay. I'm going to say to it that, yes, I agree. While my colleague Darian is more attuned to divine magic, his role is more of a defender in our party. And I'm the member that goes and seeks out blood and fights for righteous glory, and tends to be in the thick of it in terms of racking up those kills.
This is in your head, you're saying this?
Yeah, I'm not talking to you. You don't hear any of this.
Darren would definitely have something to say about that, but
Okay.
John,
Tell him,
I
John.
got more kills.
Read
than
his
you.
mind, John.
You fucking know that.
Tell him to read
That's
his
just
mind.
true.
Hey,
I'm not proud.
Agalor, you have an item that can read minds, in case you've forgotten. But
I did
Darren,
forget. It's been 7 years.
fuck, I keep.
I'm just kind of like in the back, sort of like raising my eyebrows and like pondering something. Everybody's like, "What the fuck is going on with you?"
So yeah, it responds to you and says that answer is very acceptable. And after all this internal like sentient talk, you're kind of like, yeah, you see Raphael's next to you, and he kind of looks at you while you're, I guess, holding the hilt of your sword while it's still in your scabbard or whoever it is, and he kind of nods to you and he says, "Cool sword, bro." And then Agalor, so you now have like traveled for a while wearing those elven like tree boots,
Yep.
that you got
The
that
boots
allow
of the
you
elven
to
kind.
the ones that emit no sound no matter how heavy your steps are.
Yeah.
You begin to notice something, and at this point you've been traveling for a while. You would have like had moments, at least one time, when you tried to take them off and you realize that you can't. And there's another thing, the more that you've walked in them, you've noticed that you can't, like, you can still walk normally and it's fine, but you can't feel your feet. It's like they're not there anymore. And it's almost like, and it takes a while to get used to this, but it's almost like you feel as if you're kind of like one with the ground around you, where like you can take a step and you don't like feel your foot fall, like the physical feel of it, but like you're very sure of your steps if you just, I mean, again, this is like just
Probably what it's like to wear Yeezys. Yeah. I get
yeah.
it. I get
They
it.
actually look exactly like Yeezys.
Yeah.
These are some elven Yeezys.
Yeah.
That's what they're called now. That's lore.
The elven Yeezys.
So the effect of this physically, like mechanically in the game, is your speed is now reduced by 5 feet, but your passive perception and dexterity checks where you like have to move quickly, like shift or leap out of the way, get advantage, and your passive perception gets +1. So you can, yeah. And then finally, Darian. So after y'all inspected the bodies, kind of looted the bodies, inspected Gilvarnek, because y'all like took his axe, if you remember, and just the general dead Red Scar mercenaries and Gilvarnek's eviscerated corpse, you sense something, like your divine senses give you something, being a man of the holy book, and you see like on Gilvarnek's like neck, because his head, it was a head injury, so you like kind of infecting the bodies, you were drawn to this. There's this small symbol that's carved into his body on his neck. And, if y'all checked his armor, you would have seen like blood seeping out. This same symbol also appears carved into his chest, like his torso. And it's like very jaggedly done. It looks like it was probably incredibly painful. There's blood seeping out of it. And if you look in the handouts, the mark of Asmodeus, can you see that? It should be visible to everyone, I think.
It's in the handouts.
Yeah.
Asmodeus.
It might only be visible to John. Let me look.
Oh, I can see it.
Okay, I think I made it visible to all players because it's like kind of common knowledge what Asmodeus is. So that symbol is is like an Asmodeus mark, John. You are very, very. You don't even have to roll for this. You're very familiar. Asmodeus is like Satan, essentially. He's the most powerful of the 9 archdevils that inhabit hell, and he's the only one of hell's rulers to claim full divinity. So this is like high-level evil shit. And this Gilvarneck is marked with this symbol.
You said it was on his armor as well, or just on his neck?
It's carved into his neck, and it's carved into his the skin of his chest.
Oh shit. Okay.
So, again, y'all are on the move. Let me shift. I made a traveling screen.
Nice.
So this is like y'all. This represents y'all traveling in between. So y'all are on your way to Fallholt from your location that you're at. That it's going to be like about a half day to get there. So y'all are carrying the bodies of Ralik, Victoria, Hilea, and Windion on like cots that
John's
are like
laughing. They're dead, John.
They all died.
PC.
Well, they're not. You're fairly certain that Windion isn't dead. He's unconscious. He's still like he has a pulse and whatnot.
Didn't we try to revive
Don't they have like blue shit inside them?
Yeah. So when you
They're
inspect
just
the
like
bodies,
they're like the putty men from Power Rangers.
Did Puttyman have blue blood? No, I mean it wasn't.
No, it's just-
Their blood was red. Their blood was red. It just appeared as though whenever Krunan and Sirocco, I think, both inspected the bodies, like Krunan being a holy man and a healer, Sirocco having knowledge of like anatomy because he's a poison maker. Y'all realized that their blood was red, but it appeared as though it was facsimile, meaning it wasn't like real. And then like there is some blue, like where their tendons and muscles should have been, and like bones. It was like blue material that you don't have any idea what it was. You don't even knowing about the bodies and whatnot. And then Agalor, you took the mask of the crazy person with like 2 eye patches that got Sin like completely obliterated by Faye. His mask was the only thing that's left, and I'm assuming you took it.
Yep.
Gilvarneck's axe has the letters written in it. This phrase that I'm about to post. Does anybody speak? I'll just tell you what this is, and you'll just have to suspend if none of y'all actually know this language. Does any of y'all speak Infernal
No.
on your languages?
No, I'm just Draconic.
I think I speak Celestial, not Infernal.
I don't think there's anybody that would have a reason to speak Infernal except for
I
maybe
speak
Darian.
Celestial, Common, Elvish, Undercommon, and Infernal. Yeah.
You speak Infernal?
Wait.
Okay. Yeah, I was about to say, like, a paladin would be helpful to them.
Wait, it's because of the demon god that I worship. He's like an infernal guy, so something
Wait,
like
what
that. I
the
don't know.
fuck, John?
Wait. Is Hor a demon?
Yeah, Horus, like, hold on, I forget.
I don't think Hor is a demon.
Horus,
I don't know, yeah, I
You
could be
just
wrong.
Reveal some like devastating character knowledge you were keeping secret.
Yeah.
Well, you just fucked up if that's true, but
he's
everyone else didn't hear. Nobody
he's
heard
called
that.
the Doombringer. No, I mean, I was just like, I don't know.
No, I remember you talking about Hor, and I think I looked him up, but I thought he was still like.
He's a
divine.
vengeful deity of retribution.
Yeah,
I
that's not a
described him
demon.
incorrectly. He's not like
Not a demon.
That's a god that brings doom, but
yeah, it's close.
perhaps it's
like a god
interchangeable
of
with
war,
demon.
yeah.
Let's be honest. But
A Doombringer is not a demon. I don't know.
so the translation on this, you can read this. This is on Gilvarneck's axe. So it says, "The harbinger sin rises from imminence as ash." It's kind of like this poetic phrase. You've never heard it before, but sin is capitalized for whatever reason.
Wait, so can we all see that fucking symbol on John?
Wait, the symbol on John?
The Asmodeus symbol?
That's on Gilvarneck.
Material.
Oh, it's on Gilverneck.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
I was
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is going on?
John, have y'all heard of the anime Berserk? We're doing that. And John is Guts. No.
Wait, is John Guts or the guy that betrays Guts?
Griffith?
Yes.
Griffith did nothing wrong. No.
You motherfucker.
So another thing I wanted to get that this is just something that this is a natural addendum to what Faye was saying to y'all about kind of whenever she was trying to explain how she had agents. She's mentioned this several times now. She says, I have agents in the field and they are gathering information for me. They're getting me back. Like, they're the ones that informed her that Gilverneck was headed to Fallholt. She kind of explains that these agents are a interconnected group called the Freelancers, and I think that's also in y'all's handout. Everybody should be able to see that. So basically, it's like this guild of like rogues, wizards, assassins, spies, sages who provide her with information, but just anyone really that is connected with this group. And it was founded by Faze years ago, before her time at the Mages Guild, Magia, and they kind of run their own autonomous operation now. She's not like leading the guild, but that's when she's talking about her agents, she's talking about the Freelancers, and she kind of goes in detail on that. Everything that's listed in that handout is something y'all would now know from what she tells you. Rather than reading it, y'all can read it in your own leisure. So again, y'all are traveling, so now I want to open it up, so whatever y'all want to say or do during this time, y'all can each take turns, whatever that is. So yeah, what are y'all doing?
So who are we walking with? Is Faye with us?
Faye is with you. Faye is going there with you. Raphael's with you. Y'all.
Fallon's with us.
Fallon is with you, and then y'all and the.
I'm doing that a lot with the Elven.
Talk about how I'm disappointed that we didn't catch that little goblin in the armor, whatever that thing was. The wilderness.
That's what I'm doing with the Elven Yeezys. A lot.
It's gonna come back and fuck us.
Yeah.
What is that guy's
That's
name?
gonna be the final boss.
Lieutenant Dangle. That's what
Lieutenant
Alex.
Dangle.
Alex dressed up as him like 2 years ago.
Yeah, I remember. Lieutenant Dangle. That's the most bold move Alex has ever made. Like, that was incredible.
Yeah, you should have worn the freaking white ostrich boots.
I tried to find boots.
New boot goofing. Anyway, I'm doing that a lot and avoiding all of y'all.
You're walking like that the entire way back. With the -5 movement.
Yeah.
Don't forget about it.
You're not at all concerned about the fact that you can't take the Yeezys off and you can't feel your feet.
Yeah, I don't care.
It's a blessing that he can't
It's
take
everything
his
I've ever
off.
wanted.
Yeah.
I don't care.
He's so happy.
Of course. Okay, so what else is going on?
I'm gonna talk to Fallon. I'm still pretty pissed at Faye and pretty disillusioned with this whole endeavor. But I'm curious about what the fuck happened to him. So I know he mentioned he was like kidnapped and they got to him before his guards could. But
Yeah.
does he remember anything else about the attack on Fallholt?
Yeah, Fallon would say it was a normal day. It was actually, it wasn't even night. It was midday, and I just heard explosions of an unknown nature in my house, the mayor's house. And suddenly I was accosted by those same soldiers we just did battle with, and they were quick. They got in and out. I didn't even see them engage with my guards. I was rather disappointed that they didn't respond, but at the same time, the effectiveness of these Red Scar, and like he kind of has disdain in his voice about saying that, these Red Scar orcs were able to pull this off. He like spits. He's like, fucking pisses me off. And then he's like kind of disappointed. He doesn't really want to like go into the more detail because he's like, you can tell he's embarrassed. And like, given what you saw, you can also insight. Given what you saw on the battlefield, you can also insight. He's kind of like, proud of his ability to fight. He's like, in his 40s at this point, but he still has, ability. And the fact that he was taken this way and kidnapped, like he was another lord and not someone who can defend himself, is kind of gnawing at him.
I'm like, trust me, I know all about hating those fucking Red Scars. They basically took everything from me. I think we should get to Fallholt as soon as possible.
Agreed. I need to see what has become of my city. I don't even know how large the group was, or if kidnapping me was their only objective. I'm not sure.
So they kidnapped him, and again, were they like torturing him, and they just had him like tied up? Like
They had him tied up and like gagged.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like beat up already as the fight began. Like he was bleeding He got attacked by Gilverneck a couple of times, but he was definitely like busted up. He still is.
So
he appeared out of nowhere with the rest of them, right? Like,
yeah, he was with them.
that.
He was being.
Okay.
Well, you didn't really see, but like he was in their midst. Like
Okay.
you would assume that he was being carried by one of them.
Okay, I was gonna ask what the.
Yeah,
how
he
they
would
did
say
that,
like I was being carried by one of the bugbears.
Okay.
It was great. Like just had me over his shoulder. They didn't even have like a caravan or anything.
I'm gonna turn to Faye and Darian and ask why would a Red Scar have an Asmodeus symbol on his chest? Could that have something to do with some of the weird stuff that's going on here? Is there something more sinister at work than just bandits? Obviously there is, but
Right. I mean, Faye would defer to you, Darian, first to speak.
I mean, I haven't seen one of those symbols in a long time. I am familiar with it, but it's been years, and it's probably like in my studies when I was becoming a paladin that I saw it, but I never really seen it in person before.
Right. Yeah, Faye would say, yeah, the Mark of Asmodeus is time-honored symbol of evil. I mean, it's plain and simple. The Asmodeus is one of the most dangerous gods from. I mean, he's the only of the 9 devils to actually have true divinity. So his power is great. But I mean, I have seen individuals with this marking before, definitely in my travels, but never on an orc, and never on. I mean, he was the leader of a band. He was a warlord, but I mean, Gilvarneck had no great standing in this world as far as one of the more powerful opponents I've ever seen. And for him to be allied, to have these markings, it baffles me. It's part of what I don't understand about what's taking place with this whole situation.
you don't understand much, do you? And I kind of turn around and keep walking.
Yeah, she would get back to you and say, well, you were able to kill your nemesis. That's no small thing. He won't be haunting these lands any longer.
I turn around and I kind of get in her face and I'm like, at what cost? Like, we lost the entire city all because you didn't have your act together. Your scouts were wrong. Your plan was wrong. We weren't prepared for this. And we lost 4 people as a result of it. And maybe the entire town of Fallholt. Damn my vengeance.
Well, are you from Fallholt again?
Yeah, I'm from Fallholt. No, you guys bother to ask why I'm so fucking mad at this fucking Red
Yeah,
Scar.
okay. he did like hint at that, but like no one ever engaged Malos on like, wait, what happened with your family? Like he's made some references that were pretty overt.
I remember it was just kind of a while back.
Yeah.
I think he did mention some parts of it though.
No, nobody asked, so I didn't explicitly tell anybody why I hated this motherfucker so much.
Yeah,
But
I mean,
my character hated
you've
this
only
motherfucker.
insinuated. So yeah,
Anyway,
she would.
I turn around and just walk away from her. I don't really care what she has to say right now.
At this point, she would.
She chases back after you.
No, she would like kind of. She like brings the group like together. Like y'all are all like walking, I guess, at this point. Like you're still moving, but she kind of gets everyone's attention. Everybody. So like she's just like sitting there, and you can tell like something's like agitating her. And y'all can all roll insight checks on kind of like her body language. And this is like right after what Malice says. Let's get those rolls in.
Oh yeah, the DM hammered rolls are back. I'm pretty angry. It's lore that I wouldn't notice anything.
Yeah, we're completely oblivious.
I got a +5 and I got a fucking 7.
I'm trying pulling up the old sheet.
Just some
Bunch of fucking
rolls.
idiots.
I love this.
Come on.
Fuck, I'm trying to pull up the damn sheet. It won't load.
I mean, just roll a 1d20 and like your insights, like you can look at it after, but I'll be able to get good idea just from your raw roll.
We got stuff on our
dice are
mind. We
loaded.
just saw people die.
This is
Okay,
trash.
all y'all can tell is that she has something she needs to say to the group.
I'm new boot goofing. I don't care. I don't care about whatever the fuck she has to say.
So yeah, y'all can like give her your full attention, or you can just continue walking and not. But she's gonna say it loud enough to where you'll be able to hear it.
I'm gonna
She
walk
says-
far enough to where I can't hear it.
She says,
Fucking goofing.
I feel I may have lost some of your trust. And she's speaking to all of you. And she says, I want to clarify
You're like, never had it, bitch.
some things regarding what happened back there. The losses were substantial. I fully understand and realize that, perhaps more so than y'all. And she's like, as Malos just said, however, y'all did some real good. Like, you realize this, right? Like, despite the fact that our ambush was, quote unquote ambush, was reactive to the situation and less proactive, like me and Raphael had planned, we have killed those responsible for likely murdering and attacking and destroying, at least partially, Fallholt, and we were able to save Fallon, the mayor of this humble town. You were able to put down one of the more prominent mercenary terrorists in the region, and understand you wouldn't have even known about the threat on Fallholt if not for my scouts and my divinations, even if they were misled. You have no one to be angry at save for those responsible. And she kind of like pauses, like no one save for the Red Scar should have perished in those ruins. We were prepared as we could have been, and let me be clear, I would make the same decision again, trusting in your abilities alongside the others to do the job. And she kind of just stops talking at this point, having given her piece on that.
I'm gonna ask Faye to look at the bodies and explain the blue bone situation going on.
Yeah, I mean, she looked at him back at the fort, and she did not have an answer, really. She kind of was baffled, just like y'all were.
Okay. Sorry if I missed it.
Yeah, well, she was saying, she had explained that they were like similar. She had met them in the same way that she had met y'all, just like, months previous, where they were, and this was in other places. This wasn't in Wake. They all came to Wake later, and that's whenever it was just convenient for them to travel with y'all. But they were all part of different adventuring parties, people that she had recruited. And, they each had like kind of their separate reasons for working with her. I think Halea was like a cop. Windion was mysterious, but I think he told Darian some things, if you remember that, Darian. And Rallick was pretty clear why he was wanting to fight. And Victoria, I don't think she told y'all or not, but basically they were, to her understanding, they didn't come from anywhere special. They were similar to y'all, just people that she had identified out in the world that would be good for what she's trying to do, to work with.
We seem dispensable.
Did you say that to her?
I wouldn't say that to her. I whisper that snidely to the other members of our party. But don't voice my concerns out loud.
Okay.
It's just further proof her magic is trash. First, she couldn't teleport us to like the right place. Then she fucks up reading the future or whatever. Garbage. Trash.
I kind of nod without letting Faye know what Corinne said.
Okay. What else are y'all doing?
I'm still in a hurry to get to Fallholt. I'm kind of just like I say, let's go make sure we didn't just save the mayor of a pile of ash and just continue walking.
I want to ask Faye again how this kind of tied into her big plan.
I'm walking. If we're not talking while we're walking, I'm still walking.
Yeah,
I don't care what they're doing.
We're walking.
Yeah, let's walk.
And we're walking. How this tied in? Well, this was literally like the reason that this was like came to her attention is something that her agents would tell her run of the mill, but the reason, and she would say this, the reason that I sent y'all on this mission is because I knew who Gilvarnek was to Malos, and he's a villain straight up, and I would send a party to go and do battle with him and stop him from attacking a city any day of the week. That's standard issue for like what I'm doing out here, how I'm operating. But she sent y'all specifically because she knew Malice's relationship with Gilvarnek.
Makes sense.
I want to ask her why she doesn't have more dedicated, like long-term people to fight for her.
They're all dead.
Yeah, I mean everybody that she sent, she just roped into this. Where's everybody else that actually actually willing to fight for her?
There's two parts to that. The first part is this venture is relatively new. She's only been at this for like a year or so, as far as like compiling assets. She wouldn't use that word. She would say compiling adventures and potential companions to help me in this. And that group, Rallick, Halea, they were all part of adventuring parties of varying ages, like as far as how long ago she had recruited them. But she does have a lot of agents out in the world, not the freelancers, like adventurers in the same style that she has taken y'all on, that have been working out in the world for like almost a year now.
Okay. It's full of shit. Come on.
So, okay. Does anybody else want do anything before y'all get to Fallholt?
I just want the record to show I've never been on the Fae train ever. I was just here so I didn't get fined. Metaphorically speaking.
I assume we're all rested? Or are we resting?
I don't think we've rested.
Walking.
This would be like a half-day short rest. So if y'all are injured, y'all be able to gain back.
If I lay down, what happens to like my
Hit dice.
feet? What happens to if I lay down?
What happens to your feet?
Yeah. Could I still not
They
feel them?
make you get back up.
They like bend at like a 90-degree angle.
They're just going to the ground. You can't.
No, they're not pinned to the ground. You can lay down. It's fine.
I just still can't feel them.
Yeah.
Whatever. I don't care. That's fine. I'm not alarmed yet.
Are y'all heading up to y'all getting close now to Fallholt, and this is what y'all would see. The town of Fallholt. It's not really a city. That's not what you see. That's just how Fallholt looks normally.
This is nice.
Yeah. They really did a number on this place.
So coming up on the scene, you like kind of emerge out of the woods, and then for like a mile or so, you're heading up, and you can see the smoke billowing a lot closer now, and you come up on kind of like the south gate, and you can see like the east end of the city is the one that is like burning, but the gate before you is like intact and it's fine. And kind of like before y'all get really close to it, Faye kind of like stops y'all, and she says, before we go in, I have to tell y'all, I can't just walk in to civilized places anymore. I'm being exiled. There's a reason I don't show my face that often. There's a reason I live up in a floating castle. She's like kind of being frank with y'all. I have every reason to believe that Magia, wants me dead, at least arrested, or worse. The less they know of my operations, the better.
Love to be gaslighted by some magical terrible lady.
Just like Magia still beckons me against my better judgment, and I do not wish to return to their questions or dictates.
This would have been useful to know before we came here.
Well, she's
it's too late.
Basically saying that she's going to have to disguise herself, and she just wants to let y'all know that she's going to appear as someone else. And she kind of like snaps her fingers, and you can see her like use clearly what is disguise self spell on any spellcaster would know. And she appears as Victoria. And Victoria is in a cot off to the side, and it's covered up. And she kind of explains that she's like, I'm going to disguise myself as Victoria specifically if her and the others were targeted for some reason. Given the facts of the case back in the ruins, it seems as if they were affected by the weapons in an adverse manner. I don't really understand the reason why, but I think we can gather some information if I appear as her. And there's still, opposition agents in the city of some kind, such as the Sinjas. It could present some interesting opportunities for unknown enemies if I'm seen here. So this is how I'm going to appear going in. And then she kind of says, keep an eye out for any suspicious activity in my direction, given this disguise. She says y'all can head up to the...
Are we still carrying the dead bodies? Are we going to bury?
I was up at the gate already. I didn't even listen to what she was saying about the transforming thing.
Okay.
Are we going to bury our dead before we go in? Or are we just bringing them?
Well, Faye, if you bring that up, she would say, well, I don't want to bury them. I would plan to take them back to my castle and then try to get them to their next of kin. I don't want to bury them in some random grave. I want to get them back to their adventuring parties and their companions, and then see where their bodies need to go from there.
I don't know if we should bring suspicious blue
Yeah, it sounds like she
bone dead bodies into a dangerous city.
Fluid and throw them back in the wild.
We have some formaldehyde.
Well, she would say we can leave them at the gate. Like we could just explain what happened to them and just say, I could hide them magically. It's not a big deal.
We want the nitty-gritty details of what we're gonna do with these dead, how we're gonna preserve them.
Let's stash these so we're not getting.
Faye would say we should stash them with the guards at the gate. We have Fallon with us. She would ask Fallon if that's something that would be possible. Fallon would agree, but y'all could. That's her suggestion.
I'm good with that.
Okay, so
I defer to Fallon.
As y'all approach the gate, the guards kind of call out from the ramparts. They seem to be at the ready. The gates are shut.
There's no ramparts in this picture. Breaking my RP.
Well, this is the side on the river. So Fallholt, just to give y'all some basic lore on Fallholt, it's a river town located in the wider area between two forests, the Forest of Shadows to the east and the Lightwoods to the left, or the west. And it's just above the Outlands, kind of desert area. So it's along this river, and y'all are coming up on the south gate. And there's guards, and they would kind of say, what is your business here? What are you doing? Right before Fallon would step forth, and they would immediately start opening the gates and letting y'all in. And Fallholt has a large elf and human population, and it's a hub for trading in the Outlands. Trading and hustling is what some might say. So as y'all enter Fallholt down here, and y'all, it's things are labeled, but y'all wouldn't know these things are yet. You see that the area of the town you enter in over here on the south side is there's no hints of an attack or damage, property damage or anything. The burning is kind of coming from the far side of town on the other side, straight ahead. And Fallon would beckon y'all to follow him to what is apparently his house or his mansion. So y'all would head over there.
Again, the city's just are there people here? You said there was guards still outside?
Yeah, there's guards on the ramparts above the gate. Yeah, I mean there's some activity. There's people moving about. It's not empty. It's a normal for town. And you would notice places of business. I guess one of the things I wanted to do was every major city or town y'all go to, there's going to be local organizations, franchises, guilds, shops, centers for power and whatnot that are kind of on some level uniform across every place you would go. So if y'all say, hey, I want to go to the shop, or the general goods store, that, some version of that would exist. If you say, I want to go check out the offices of Organization X, the Mercenary Guild, Magia, whatever it is, there's a chance that might be there. So that's just general, whenever y'all enter a town or a city, kind of this would be the same in Wake. Y'all could just say, I want to go see if there's a place that sells wands, and I would tell you if that is something that exists. So that's kind of how town mechanics would work.
Okay.
But for now, y'all are kind of, Fallon's just making a beeline towards his mansion in the back of the town. And as y'all approach, the mansion is burning in areas. There's kind of a police yellow tape, not really yellow tape there, but there's this perimeter set up by guards that are kind of keeping some people gawking around. And it's crime scene perimeter being established by the guards kind of makes way as they see Fallon approaching, and y'all can make a quick first instinct look investigation check on what you see as far as the mansion.
Oof, critical.
Let's go.
Oh shit.
Green Am put on the old X-ray goggles, saw everything in the mansion.
He's scanning.
Got my rec specs on.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, Darian, Krunan, Agalor.
Soraka's looking at the wrong building.
-1.
There's a large contingent of the town's populace there, kind of talking and murmuring. They're being ushered back by the guards. And then when you look past them and you see the mansion, there's portions of the mansion have been burned away, blasted, and destroyed. And you can tell, y'all three that rolled high, the blasts are kind of localized in a specific area. There's burning in other areas, but most of the damage is in a precise specific area. And there doesn't appear to be any, most of the damage is structural property damage. You don't see any bodies in the ground, but it's likely they would have been moved anyway. It's been a while. But yeah, that's what you see. It's the, I guess, left side of the mansion is kind of where most of the damage is. And as y'all ran through the town, kind of, there was not really any other part of the town as far as buildings that were damaged in any way. And then as Fallon walks through the guards, you see a woman rush to his side and kind of like give him a hug. She's crying, appears incredibly happy to see him. And then you also see a couple more individuals among, like, these people would be past the perimeter guard, so you would notice them because they're not among the horde that's trying to. All right, y'all should see 3 characters appear in your journals shortly.
That's a Hearthstone card.
Which one?
Emmett.
Emmett? Yeah.
Looks like a or not D&D, but World of Warcraft art.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's some overlap in Hearthstone.
Yeah.
World of Warcraft.
This is cross-platform play. This is the same universe as Hearthstone. Oh shit, I'm found out. No. So you see like this.
Dude, net decking Watsy.
You see,
bitch.
This red-robed elven like wizard that's kind of like tall stature, surrounded by an entourage of different people. The most striking of them is this guard that's wearing like this red cape, and he's standing right by Emmett's side. And then a little bit behind them, looks like there's some other guards or like other like wizardly robed types. There's a woman like kind of wearing adventuring gear, and she's like scribbling on some parchment. And you see none of y'all like recognize this person that it says Emmett on his handout, but y'all don't recognize him. But you can tell he's like prominent. He's leading some type of like investigation or inspection of the crime scene. He's like pointing things out, and the city guard and his entourage are both taking action around him. So Fallon is reunited with what looks like his wife, and there's this wizard and his contingent of people around. At this point, Faye would kind of like wade into the scene, kind of like looking in the crowd suspiciously, but she kind of leads the charge into the area, and she would approach the wizard. So are y'all following? Are y'all doing something with Fallon? What are y'all doing?
So Fallon's like, I'm assuming he's been gone for a while. I feel like we should give him some time with his wife. So I feel like we should follow Faye.
Okay. And Raphael's following Faye right behind her.
I want to know why Fallon's like getting specifically targeted by these evil orcs. This doesn't feel right to me. But I'll give him a minute. But I got my eye on him.
Yeah, well, I also have an eye on Faye. I want to make sure she doesn't disappear into the crowd.
As she's approaching, like wizards turn around as she's approaching this wizard and this group that I just described. She turns back to y'all and she like pulls out her hand. She has like makes like a finger gun motion, and each of y'all hear in your minds this voice that magically, something that you're familiar that wizards might be able to do. Actually, Victoria did it to you, Agalor, as like her dying words. She couldn't actually speak, so she imparted them telepathically in this way. Or it's not really telepathy, it's more she's whispering it, like she's sub-vocalizing it, and then the whisper kind of just like travels, and then it hits your ears. So it's still like a sound is emitted. She says, "Careful with your actions and your thoughts here. This is Emmett, and he's the West Arch of Magia. He was there during my time. I am very well acquainted with him, and it's a good thing I don't appear as I normally do right now. He uses magic of the mind, so be incredibly careful with how you're thinking." And she doesn't really elaborate on that. He was one of my colleagues during my time in the guild. He is not to be trusted. That's the way he likes it. And I used to respect him, but I can't anymore. And I think it's kind of beneath him for him to be here. So that's suspicious to me, is what she conveys to you.
As a defensive, preemptive mechanism, I'm going to only think about Fantasy Taco Bell while we're in his presence. Is there one in Fallholt? I don't know. I'll ask Will that.
I was thinking of bringing it up.
Yeah.
I don't know what
There's gotta be.
Battle. That's all I can really think about. Right
there was a Fantasy Taco Bell. It was burned down when my village got attacked, but they may have rebuilt it.
So he became a man in that Fantasy Taco Bell.
It's where I met my wife.
Darren, as you have your first, like, you just start like a mantra of Fantasy Taco Bell in your head. Your first like inkling of that thought, you see Emmett violently turn his head around and stare right in your eyes. Okay. So are any of y'all else going to take any mental actions in this moment or not?
He's looking me in the eye or Will in the eye?
No, that didn't happen.
Okay. I'm still thinking about Taco Bell, though. Let's be real.
Yeah.
My mind is generally elsewhere. I barely focused on what they said.
Okay.
Yeah, I block her out entirely. I don't care.
I'll do some meditation.
I'm probably walking over to where my house used to be.
Okay. So are you splitting from the party, Mouse?
Yeah.
Okay. So, okay. I guess if he's going that way, are y'all all following Raphael and Faye? Are you going to Fallon? You following Mouse? What's the plan?
I'm gonna tell the rest of the party that we should give Malos some time alone.
Right.
I'm gonna ask Malos if he wants time alone or if he wants help.
I just say do as you wish.
That means he wants.
That doesn't help.
Alone.
Okay, I'll give you some time alone then.
I've heard that. I've heard those words before. That means he wants to left alone.
I'm gonna go to the water.
I didn't mean that. I didn't want it to seem like I didn't want people to join me. I just don't care if they do or not.
Yeah.
Right.
Who's got the walkie-talkie stones?
I think you do.
I did.
How many of those do we have?
2.
Just 2. I thought I gave them away.
No. I think Bo tested them out and then he gave them to you because you're the one that asked about them.
Weird. I thought I gave them to
at some point
Alejandro.
I
thought I took them and then I gave them to him because I never getting something else.
At some point, Raphael or Faye would have asked to have one of them so you could communicate whenever you're away. Probably would have been Raphael since he was like, would you have given him to him? We can retcon that. If you wouldn't have, then you still have both of them.
I mean, Faye can just blink wherever she wants. Why does she need fucking walkie-talkies?
There's nothing she's done that indicates she can, quote, blink wherever she wants.
I mean, she shows up at the end of fights every goddamn time.
She dropped down from a dragon last time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We think.
You don't know what the full situation there was.
She can't blink.
So, yeah, Raphael would have asked, hey, can I have this other sending stone?
Shouldn't you have your own set that you can lend out? You're like, don't take my shit.
I mean,
well, it would have been Raphael asking for them so he could say, I'm going to communicate because I'm going out to the battlefield first. That is what would have happened, and then you would have said yes or no to him.
I would have said yes.
Okay, maybe. Then Raphael still has the other sending stone.
Do I have his driver's license at least?
Collateral?
His ranger's license?
So I don't have it. Okay,
you have one of them.
I know, but that doesn't do me any good.
You could be like,
breaker. Well, I'll give you the other one in case you need to get in touch. No, yeah, I mean, it's better for you to have that one, so then you can at least contact the other dudes.
So you're going to give it to Malice?
Yep, I'm giving it to Malice.
I catch it, say thanks, and continue.
It's your only belonging now, so take care of it. Take care of it.
It's your only belonging now.
Wait, what did you say?
Jeez.
I said nothing.
Alright.
Okay.
I say thanks. Let me know if anything comes up.
Okay.
And I go on my merry way.
I'm going to the water. Just going to go chill by the river.
Okay, so you're also splitting from the party.
Yeah,
I'm clear on this.
My house is on the water, but
okay.
But I'm not following Will.
You're giving him the space. You're going to the water, separate water.
I'm going down here, but I'm still goofing the whole time.
Okay.
Him and Will say bye, and then they walk in the same direction. And he awkwardly just stops and waits for Will to go a little bit further before following him.
Yep. And y'all all universally understand that awkward moment.
Yeah.
Just no insight roll needed. Okay, so what are the rest of y'all doing?
I'm gonna follow Faye. I mean, she's still disguised at this point, right?
She's disguised as Victoria.
I'm sticking with Faye.
She's disguised as a dead person? Fuck
yeah. Victoria's body, it's probably good we didn't bring the body.
A little too soon.
Yeah.
Well, she explained why she was disguised as Victoria.
That doesn't make it cool.
You can see...
Someone's like, hey, I'm about to fucking punch you, but I'm going to do it because of this. That doesn't make it good.
And then, so you can see as they're walking up, Raphael is taking the lead. Victoria was walking, but then you can see kind of them communicate something, and then Raphael is the one that's approaching directly at Emmett. If y'all are following, then this is what happens. You can see right as Raphael approaches, he looks as if he's about to say something, and almost right in the moment before he's about to speak, you hear Emmett's voice, who kind of has this tremor to it. It kind of carries. It's very distinct. You can tell it's coming from him, even though his back is turned. He says, Raphael Zor, you are such a long way from home. And Raphael kind of stops in his tracks, and he responds, says, Emmett, what what are you doing here? I hear you never leave your tower and wake. You choose to preside over your community and your Magia underlings in your ivory tower. What are you doing here? And at this point, Emmett would turn around, and he kind of looks at Raphael with what you would assume is like disdain. It's just he doesn't even register kind of what he actually said, and then he quickly, you see his eyes dart, and he's looking past Raphael, and he's looking at Fallon, and he immediately like hands the book he was holding, and he hands it to one of his fellow mages, and he starts walking past Raphael, kind of pushes past him easily, and heads towards Fallon. And as he does, he kind of like glances over, and he sees that y'all are there as well, past the perimeter set by the guards. And he kind of gives you a look over for a moment before heading directly towards Fallon. And he says to Fallon, Mayor Fallon, what has become of you? How are you back here? Before Fallon can respond, he kind of like is like still like hugging his wife, speaking with her, calming her down because she's worked up and crying and whatnot. He turns to Emmett, and he doesn't really have any specific type of look on his face, but he kind of, as if he's beginning to explain, Emmett cuts him off immediately and says, what did the Red Scar want with you? And Fallon's taken aback, and then like he's about to come up with another thing to say, and then Emmett hits him with, why didn't they kill you? What were they looking for? What is? And then at this point, Raphael is gonna step in between Fallon and Emmett and like coming to his defense. And again, like Fallon at this point is still kind of like haggard looking. He's like bleeding. He's like clearly needs rest. And like I think y'all can kind of tell like he's not prepared for like this like interrogation. He doesn't really have any responses to Emmett. Raphael kind of says like, well, slow down there. He's injured. He just got back. Why don't you slow your roll? And Emmett would say to Raphael, he says, you should step aside before you make another incalculable mistake. You're obviously not sure what he's referring to, but that kind of stops Raphael. At this point, y'all can say or do anything before anything else continues while this whole thing is happening, as I have a conversation between 3 NPCs. And again, whenever Raphael kind of like got in between him, you could see, as if subconsciously, his sword arm was hovering around the hilt of his longsword.
Raphael was reaching for his sword?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, again, so Raphael was walking to talk to him, and then Emmett just walked straight by him to go talk to Fallon.
Wait, so did we hear the shit that happened in Raphael's head?
What shit? Oh,
did Emmett not speak?
Whenever Emmett addressed Raphael?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was said. Emmett said that.
Oh, okay. Sorry, I was confused. I thought he was speaking in his mind.
Emmett said that out loud. You could hear his voice carrying. It was like his actual voice.
Would I know? Would I hear any of this through the Stone of Far Speech?
That's a good question.
I don't know how those work.
Yeah.
I don't know. So Raphael has the other one, or
Raphael has the other one in his pack. So
shit.
I'm gonna make a roll for this because I don't know how to.
Yeah, we'll see how deep it is in the pack.
Yeah. I would say you would overhear this with some static through the Stone of Far Speech, walkie-talkie, magic, fantasy walkie-talkie.
Okay.
So I guess at this point, you're headed towards your house. So you tell me where you lived, if your house is still there. It's been years, so obviously there's at least a new tenant if your house is still there.
Yeah, my house is burned down. I don't know if it's been rebuilt. This will be the first time I've been back. But I lived kind of on the outskirts, so I was living kind of up here near the water, and I was like a pretty simple craftsman. I ran a mill.
Okay. It looks like it's been replaced by a new structure. There's something there. It doesn't really look like what your house looked like, but it is kind of like it's still a mill. Since it's on the water, it's just the new updated version of the mill, the city mill.
Yeah, I'm less concerned about the building itself. I'm just like breaking in a place.
Right. Okay. And then I'm sure there's a lot of memories there that I'll let you hash out. And then Agalor, what are you doing? You just taking a dip, looking for drugs?
No, I'm just watching the water. I haven't seen a fucking river in a while. I was out in the desert, just looking at some flowing water, bro. Just chilling, no drugs. I'm high on nature. Natural drugs.
You're taking it in. Okay. So you're galaxy braining nature. Krunan, Darian, and Sirocco, y'all make me charisma checks. So just a 20 plus your charisma modifier. Oh, Sirocco, the golden boy. See what Krunan gets. Okay. So Sirocco, as y'all are watching this scene unfold between all three of these people, you see the person on the handout titled Ramona. She kind of like nudges you, and like you're fully engaged on the scene, and to your left, she kind of like nudges you on your shoulder, and she kind of whispers to you. She's like, "This is good stuff," and she's like writing it on her parchment. And you can make me actually a history check as well as you look her in the face if you turn and looked at her.
Okay. Nice.
Okay. Darian and Krunan, y'all can make me rolls as well as this woman approaches, kind of like in y'all's midst as you like kind of if you turn to look at her.
What checks? Perception?
No, history. Krunan. Okay, Krunan has.
High and low.
None of y'all read the paper. That's what that means. None of y'all have any media consumption, which is probably why y'all are all like mentally healthy.
I was pretty isolated for a while. So.
Yeah, that's lore. This is lore on Krunan and Darian's accounts, I think, and it's actually lore on Sirocco as well. This is fine. So y'all do not recognize her, but she kind of to Sirocco, she introduces herself. She holds out her hand and she says, "Hi, my name's Ramona. I'm a journalist, and do y'all know like what's going on here? Do y'all know like y'all were with Fallon as he walked in? What's happening?" And she's like writing everything that is being said between Emmett, Fallon, and Raphael.
I'm not saying shit.
Yeah, I'm gonna say talk to lawyers.
And Sirocco, you would see on her like parchment at like the top, she kind of has written the conscious cartographer, and you would have some cursory knowledge that is something related to like a news source in the world, but you've never read it.
Sounds about right.
I saw that on something I threw away before because I can't read.
I got some conscious cartographer junk mail at some point. Well, she explains that she's a journalist and she's currently like doing a case or a case study or a profile is the word she would use. A profile on Emmett. And that's why she's here. She's like whispering all this to you. And it's kind of she lets you know that she's a journalist. She's profiling Emmett, and she's asking y'all that. And then y'all say, "Talk to the hand" or whatever.
Well, if she's saying that, then I thought she was trying to get information on the like what just happened with us, rather than just Emmett. But
well, she's seeing like this juicy altercation happen between Fallon and Emmett, and she's profiling Emmett, so she wants to know their relationship.
Oh. Yeah. Well, I mean, I can respond and say. I mean, we literally just met him. We don't really know him too well, but I want to ask what she knows about him.
Well, she says, well, he's the mayor of Fallholt here, and he was kidnapped. Everybody thought he was dead because mercenaries kidnapped him. He's either dead or was going to be sold to the highest bidder. We never thought we'd see him again. Emmett was here inspecting the damage and what had happened, and, you know, I was just caught up in this. This is an event that happened. I was interviewing Emmett, and then he brought everyone here, this whole group that I'm with. I mean, these are all his mages. I'm the only journalist, but yeah, I'm just here taking in a real-time news event. This is big time.
Well, does she know? Well, I don't want to straight up ask her, but does she know that like Emmett can read minds? Should I do like a perception check on her answer to see if she would know that or not?
You can ask her that. Based on what she just said, you wouldn't, as far as like how much she knows about Emmett.
Yeah.
I mean, it seems like she's been on his profile for like days.
Oh, okay.
This hasn't been like, you don't know if she knows that he's a mind mage or what Victoria/Faye told you.
I mean, I feel like we have a chance to. I'm going to turn to my two other party members, and I want to say like we have a chance to be down in the history books, boys. What should we say?
I don't want anything to do with this lady.
Did you Darren, did you tell her that y'all said you said you just met Fallon, but like did you tell her like the nature of why you were traveling with him?
No, I was saying we just met Emmett, but I didn't say anything about Fallon. That's why I was kind of like deferring to my colleagues before I responded because I didn't want to say anything that was proprietary.
I'd rather less people knew about my whereabouts.
So she says, so what were y'all doing with Fallon? And can I get like a quote? Y'all were escorting him? I'm assuming y'all like had something to do with his escape. Y'all heroes? She's like eager for a quote.
Who's Fallon? That's what I say to her.
Well, he's the mayor of Fallholt, and I just said that. And he's the person that your group was just traveling with, but I'm assuming
I'm not here with anybody. I just followed these people in. I was following all the commotion too.
She's like, are you high?
What's high?
She nods and like smiles at you, and then she doesn't say anything.
I was giving you guys some time to get out of there.
When she nods and smiles, does she like blush at Sirocco, or
no? It was more like a look of like, okay, Mister, I'm not high.
Okay.
I'd try to duck out of there and just like keep my eye on the situation.
I'm not giving her shit.
Involved in this.
At this point, like, there's some more words exchanged between Emmett and Fallon and Raphael. Raphael is kind of like getting in between. At this point, the guard with the red cape that is standing like kind of dutifully by Emmett's side is stepping in front of Emmett, and he's like kind of confronting. He doesn't really say anything, but he's confronting Raphael, and he's like, it is defensive. And you see Emmett, what I said earlier, Darian, where his head violently shifts and like stares right at you.
Mm-hmm.
That happens at you. For a moment, like, you think he's staring at you, but then he points and he's like kind of looking past you can tell now, and he says, "Stop that man. He knows something." And it's kind of like this weird thing where y'all were like kind of moving, getting out of the situation, and then Emmett looks your way, you notice he's looking past you, and he points past you and says this, and then y'all can roll me perception checks on what you see from there, if you like look in that direction or in your general awareness.
My eyes are closed.
You're just shocked because you had a daydream that he would be a fan of Fancy Taco Bell and like stare at you when you started thinking about it.
Yeah.
And so you daydreamed him doing that, and then he actually did it. It's like deja vu, but the first time it didn't actually happen.
Yeah.
So Sirocco, you kind of like, you like dart and look back, and you see like a guy in a dark cloak. He's just wearing like he's got a hood over his head, and he's like running out of the crowd, out of the back of the crowd, and away from the kind of the gathering around the mansion. And Emmett's guard, he like taps him on the shoulder, and he just starts sprinting. And then Raphael almost gets knocked over as this guard, loose in the cape, starts running the direction of the running man. And Victoria at this point, / Faye, who's just kind of been sitting there listening to everything. She was kind of standing away from Raphael, but paying attention to that altercation. She didn't really, you couldn't tell she heard this interaction with this journalist, Ramona. She, I'm gonna roll for this. Darian, she like, you feel a hand on your like shoulder, like your armor,
Mm-hmm.
and you feel for like a brief moment.
My non-chain armor.
Yeah, your normal ass non-chainmail armor. You feel for a moment like everything around you slows down for a second.
Who's touching me, Faye? Victoria?
Well, it's just a hand on your shoulder, and then like if you looked over, you could tell it was Faye. But you can feel for a moment like everything around you slows down to the point of like it's like weird. Like you've probably never done drugs in your life, like as a Darian, but like this would be like that.
Yeah.
And you notice that you can still like you're not moving in slow motion. You can.
But Darian's an alcoholic, isn't he?
It's unknown at this point.
This is like
that was one of your rumors.
That's why he was
one of
asking
your
about
rumors.
TV. He needed to crack open a cold one.
Yeah,
that was one of your rumors, wasn't it? Wouldn't we know that?
It was a rumor. That doesn't mean
it was a rumor. Yeah,
it was a rumor. You're a fucking
How
alcoholic.
would you pick alcoholism as a rumor?
So at the height of like your alcoholism peak, in the greatest moments of like euphoria that you would get from like drinking, it feels like that. But you have all your senses about you.
It's some like animated movie where some like squirrel drinks like a Red Bull or something.
What?
And Over the Hedge, I think it's called.
John's talking about Ice Age.
Over the Hedge?
It's Over the Hedge.
Over the Hedge?
Nobody's seen that.
John made it Over the Hedge.
Y'all not seen that movie?
No!
Came out like
John
last
made it
year.
Over the Hedge.
Okay, let me fix this.
Not last year.
Let me fix
It was
this.
a decade ago.
That was
The-
beyond the time when we
That's
should
like
have
a
reference-
kid's movie about like raccoons that eat trash.
The reference you should have made, and the thing that I was about to say, is this is like the scene in Futurama when Fry has his like 100th coffee cup of the day or whatever. This is that's what's
another
happening.
good one. Okay.
So you feel like everything around you slow down, but you are like your awareness is like quickened, and you can move as fast as you want. Like you're not in slow motion. And Victoria whispers in your ear. She says, "Get him."
Oh shit!
Holy fuck!
All right, but did I see him after I rolled a 2 of perception, or can I like?
No, you didn't. So Faye, I mean Victoria Faye would point and say, Emmett just pointed to the guy in the cloak. Go.
Okay. Should I roll perception on that as well to see if I understood it?
Why are we tapping the guy who has no idea what's going on?
She's chosen. All right, I'll run after him.
Okay. So,
how far is he? Is he
so like I would say it's happening like right here. I'll put like an X where the direction he was running.
Mm-hmm.
You can roll me a perception to see which way you think he goes, and once he hits this crossroads.
Oh God.
Okay, then roll me on athletics to see how fast you're running. And then Sirocco and Krunan, y'all can both take any action you want at this point also, if you wanted to.
All of my rolls are fucking sucking tonight.
You can do...
After hearing the commotion, I'm going to start walking back.
You're slowly walking back while I'm like...
Yeah, I'm slow walking because John had haste cast on him.
That's correct. Yeah, so I would say on that
Suck
side of
my
athletics
D&D
check,
knowledge.
you would get another like +5 to that. So you're still running really fast, even though like you're not hoofing it at your full strides. And then so I guess which way, you didn't really see which way he turned. Which way do you think he turned? Do you think he went right or left? He probably didn't go straight, or else I wouldn't have made you roll a perception to see which way he turned.
I'm gonna run to the right.
To the right, yeah.
I knew. All right, saw that Malice went to the left, so I'm gonna run to the right, even though Malice knows nothing about the situation. He probably didn't. But I don't know. Did he hear that the Emmett saying "get the guy"? Because Raphael was kind of close to Emmett when he said that.
I'm gonna make a roll for that.
Okay.
No.
Okay. I'm still gonna run right. I made the decision.
Okay, I was thinking I just heard some commotion and like all the running and people shouting.
Yeah. You would hear that. Well, you can roll me a perception to see how well you'd hear that and where you think it'd be sourcing from. But the magic of the sending stones is rather capricious. So you're taking a right. When you take a right, he's kind of a ways ahead of you, and then the red-caped guy has a lead on you as well. He's also took a right. I mean, I guess you would have seen that, but...
Wait, I have advantage on perception rolls.
Yeah, Malice, are you walking around with like these owl eyes on?
Fuck
I
yeah,
hope you are. So yeah, you hear the commotion for sure with the 12. It's just kind of coming back towards the mansion. You don't really know. You don't see this X or this alley or anything specifically. So then Sirocco and Krunan and Agalor, you can roll me your perception as well at this point. But
my back, I stopped by an apothecary's lounge on the way.
I thought you were getting high on nature, bro.
Well, yeah, that got boring. Hold on. Perception.
Oh shit.
Perceive the fuck out.
Your elf ears hear that this is coming from like the housing district. So you're over here, I guess. So you hear like the sound, the commotion's coming back towards the mansion, and it looks like people are running. I don't know. It's kind of hard to imagine that, but like since you're so far away, but your elf ears pick some shit.
I've got elf ears,
it's
bro.
Fine. So anybody can take any action at this point.
Yes,
in a moment. After everybody else goes, this isn't really like initiative.
I go towards the commotion. I'm going towards the commotion.
Everyone goes? What?
Anybody can do whatever they want. Like, I don't know what y'all are doing.
I'm staying in the mansion.
Okay. And y'all are like in the courtyard of the mansion, just to be clear. Y'all aren't like inside of it. But...
Yeah. But I'm sticking with Faye, and I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave all those mysterious people alone.
Okay. At this point, Raphael would run ahead. Faye would not. She's kind of says something to Raphael, and Raphael runs. Fallon is just kind of with his wife.
Did I just kind of like disappear in front of like everyone? Did I move that fast, or was it just kind of like a?
No, you're not like instantaneous Goku.
Okay.
You're just faster. You've got a much better 40 speed now.
Nice. I hit the combine.
And actually, Krunan and Sirocco, if y'all are staying put, y'all would see Emmett just kind of like start levitating. He just goes up. He's like, whoop, and then he starts like walking over you.
I don't like
in
that.
the sky towards the sounds of the running.
All right. Well, I kind of want to follow him.
Okay, so you're just gonna like walk underneath his shadow.
Yeah. I'll try to hide in his shadow so he doesn't notice.
Who's going up into the sky?
This is Emmett.
Oh God.
The wizard.
Also, real life Kyle has to go.
Okay, yeah, I mean, we've been playing for over an hour, obviously. So actually, I just rolled, I'll close it out on this. I rolled athletics for the man running and the guard, the Emmett's guard. And yeah, I'm not even going to make you roll in athletics. Darian, whenever you like turn the corner over here as you continue running. Okay, you get there. You get the fuck out of there. You can see that this guard, this guy is tackled, and he's like kind of apprehending. He has his hand behind his back in like a motion that you can tell is like painful, and he's holding him in place. He has his knee on his back.
He's getting the chain cuffs out.
And he turns back to you and says, he's like, "Where's Emmett?" And then Emmett kind of like descend. He says, "Right on time." And then like the guy like Emmett comes down and like lands right next to him, and you hear Emmett say, "Great job, Sean." And he kind of looks down upon the robed guy. He kind of like looks in his eyes, and Darian, you can roll me an insight for what you see this guy's face. And then I'm guessing, yeah, there's just abject like.
We're not rolling really well tonight.
Yeah.
There's some terror in his eyes, but Emmett's not saying anything. He's just looking at him. And then Sean is just kind of, he says, "You should step back," to you, Darian. And this is the scene that's happening, and that's where we can end it tonight.
All right.
Cool.
All right, same time tomorrow, boys.
Wait, hey Dylan.
Mm-hmm.
So you said my living weapon he's 4 soulless.
Yes. So the words it used were poetic, but what you would get was, it wants to kill things that are tenebrous, and it is fighting for solace. And it's under the impression that Darian, like the magic emanating from him, like divine magic as a paladin, is in line with what it wants, more so than you, who are just like use arcane magic, and you're someone who killed Gilvarneck and his band. That's the evidence it has to indicate that, because that's the first time you used the weapon was in that fight.
Yeah.
That's the silver blade that transforms.
Silver +1 magic sword. Yeah.
Yeah. I will say I think I would be, so Solus is they're centered in Trivalnestra, right? Trivalnestra. Okay. So that's where like I spent most of my time after the shit that happened to me happened.
Okay.
I legitimately wrote that in my backstory that I was there.
Yep.
So that would have been like
the city of artists.
Yeah, that's how I picked up the loot.
I mean, Trivalnestra is a human city, and that's where Solus is like kind of centered.
Okay, so I'd be pretty familiar with Solus probably.
Yeah. I mean, your understanding is like Solus is about light, mercy, strength. It's without saying it explicitly, it's similar to white in the color pie of magic.
Okay.
Obviously. And Tenebris is similar to black. Not to say Tenebris is about necromancy and like evil magic like Liliana and stuff. It's more about power and ambition and not seeing like the lies of like optimism, and it's like people are at their heart just out for themselves, and Tenebris tries to take advantage of that.
Okay. Malice is more of a blue and red kind of guy, but whatever.
Blue is similar to, so I like develop these 4 things like first, and then I was like doing research on like philosophy and stuff, and I was like, wait, I remember reading an article a long time ago on the color pie and them describing each color, and I remember it being awesome. So I found that again, and I was reading it, and if you were to break it out, just to like put it in terms you understand, obviously Gaia is like green. Gaia is like a combination of green and red. Cyanzi, the technology thing, is obviously blue. Solus is white, and Tenebris is black. If you wanted to break it down, because like the color pie and the way I would recommend, I can send you all the article, how they break down the color pie and kind of what each color is fighting for. That's how these organizations would slot in, because obviously the philosophies that are in play are like kind of universal.
Yeah, I guess he's probably kind of white because he has a lot of loyalty and he sort of fights well.
Yeah, I mean, that's up to you. It didn't really say that like, oh, you can't wield me unless you like have divine magic. It's more just like, kill things that are Tenebris for the glory of Solus. It was like, I want to kill things that it thinks are wicked, which it thinks Tenebris is wicked from its perspective.
Okay.
So it's like, as long as you're using it in a way that it approves of, it won't try to battle a test of wills with you constantly and constantly make you make wisdom saving throws, essentially.
All right, that's good to know.